Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter term technical analysis on Bitcoin, because in the last 24 hours since we recorded yesterday's video, guys, Bitcoin has fallen all the way down to the price target of around $6,500. If you'll remember back to the last couple of videos, you'll remember that $6,400 to around $6,450 was our first major level of support below 7K. That's exactly where we bounced. We've talked about over the last several days why Bitcoin may actually be coming close to the bottom of this market and why Bitcoin may be having a bottom relatively soon. And as you can see, Bitcoin has put a V-bottom in. For the first time in a long time, Bitcoin fell and then bounced as far as it fell. That's a big development. We're going to be discussing the significance of that in today's video and talking about whether or not $6,500 is actually our bottom or if we have farther to go. And from there, I want to dive into some news having to do with Bitcoin and it dying. Guys, it's so funny how many times Bitcoin has been pronounced dead, and every single time Bitcoin has come back from the grave to bring us gains. Nearly 400 times Bitcoin has died now, and even over here on 99 Bitcoins, you can go to the Bitcoin obituaries tab, and you can see every single time that Bitcoin was pronounced dead. Falsely, I might add. From there, guys, we're going to touch on the crypto fear and greed index. As you can see, we're sitting at a very low 17 right now. The Bitcoin market is extremely fearful right now, and as you guys know, a little bit of tactical contrarianism can actually bring about some big gains. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing why this is actually a good thing and a reversal signal for Bitcoin. If you guys do enjoy today's video, there's a few things you can do to show your love if you want, and then you can hit that like button down there, only if you really like the video though, of course. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We do daily cryptocurrency content, and I'd love for you to be part of our community. So without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So guys, a very brief recap of what's going on here. As you will know, Bitcoin broke bearish out of this falling wedge a couple of weeks ago, back on the 18th of November. And from there, Bitcoin has been gradually trending to the downside, moving into consolidation pattern after consolidation pattern, all of which have broken bearish. As we saw back over here on the 18th, though, Bitcoin fell and only bounced to about half the height of where it started its fall. As we talked about in a video back then, that is a big sign of bearishness. When you see the market fall and then it doesn't bounce to or above where it started that correction, then the bears are most certainly in control. But when you see the market fall as it did in the last 24 to 48 hours or so, and then Bitcoin bounces right back up to where it started, that indicates that the bulls and the bears are pretty much evenly matched. And that is one of the two big things that I'm reading from this market right now. One is that the bulls are a little stronger, the bears are a little weaker. And because the bears weren't very strong in the first place, that means that they're relatively evenly matched. As we can see, we fell. We bounced right back up to where we started. We're going to talk about this level here in a second, by the way, because that is important. But the other thing I'm reading into here is an increase in volatility. I don't know about you guys, but it's really been staring me in the face over the last several days. Bitcoin has had volatility increasing as we kind of parabolically move down here towards our bottom at $6,500. Volatility has been returning, and so too has volume. We can see that down here on the 1 hourly chart. We're seeing volume come back, we're seeing volatility come back, and we're seeing the bulls are a little bit stronger than the bears. Now, guys, I've talked about where the bottom for Bitcoin is. I think it's in between $5,000 and $7,000. It's somewhere in that region, and it doesn't really matter exactly where it is. But in this video, I want to make the case that we may have just seen it. Now, before I do, I want you to understand something. There's a lot of credence to the other arguments about Bitcoin going lower. I'm not talking about those in today's video, though I'm not dismissing them either. So please keep that in mind. I mean, for example, Bitcoin did bounce to where it started, but it's still rejected at $7,200. That is supposed to be an important level of support. It is now acting as resistance. So there are bearish factors here. I'm not focusing on those in this video. That doesn't mean they don't exist though. Anyway, another one of the big things that jumps out at me on this market are these bottoms. Guys, whenever you see a low and then you see a lower low, one of the first things I like to do is go and check our RSI for RSI divergence. And lo and behold, guys, you see if there's a bottom and then another bottom that is much lower than our first bottom. And a lot of times when you see one bottom that was already overextended on the RSI, and then you see another one relatively soon thereafter, that's a bottoming pattern. And the reason it's a bottoming pattern is because of the RSI divergence. Because if we look down here in the RSI, we can see that we have an uptrend on the bottoms down there. Classical bullish RSI divergence. Those are 4 words that characterize what this move is. And in short, that generally means a bounce, and that generally means a reversal. That generally means the start of a new uptrend. And guys, I've talked about RSI divergence in previous videos. It is a very important technical indicator. It's one of those that we talk about over here in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. There is a sale running on that, by the way, link in the description. And it's one that you should never ignore. RSI divergence is extremely powerful. It's extremely important. You should always be looking for it. It's one of those things on your checklist. I mean, when you're looking at your technicals every day, look for RSI divergence. If it's there, you're going to want to know about it. But guys, there are other bullish technical indicators as well. For one, the MACD on the hourly chart is obviously bullish. I mean, it was going to be following this move. But you know, one thing that I find really cool about MACD is that you could have predicted this entire move right here, because as you can see, the histogram started curving bullish on itself far before most of these gains happened, and then about 5-6 hours later, about 4 hours later actually, we had a bullish cross on the MACD, and we saw it be predicted with this move. We also saw it be predicted with very low RSI. There were a lot of ways that you could have called this as being the bottom around $6,500 and then caught this move to the upside. I was asleep, so I didn't catch that, but if you were watching this, there was an ability to do that. But guys, keep in mind that idea of the histogram diverging. I've talked about that in many videos. I've talked about it in CT2A as well. When the histogram starts converging bullish, that's what that is. When it goes from red to green and it's below the zero level, that's bullish convergence. That is an early warning sign that you may be about to see some bullish moves. Moving out here to the daily chart, we see the exact same thing, except we're much earlier in the process, guys, and this is what I love. As you can see, today, anyway, this candlestick is not closed, so this is not locked in yet, but for today, right now, Bitcoin is starting to converge bullish on itself in the same way that it did down on the hourly chart. Look at what happened on the hourly chart when this market started converging bullish on itself. It had a rally, and even as I'm recording this, Bitcoin has just jumped $30. The exact same thing is also true here on the 4-hourly. It started to converge bullish, and in fact, we just had a bullish cross on the 4-hourly. That's a big deal. Even more substantial, guys, is that as Bitcoin continues to rally here, if we can stay above around 72.50, if we can get up there and stay above there, we're getting above some important moving averages. The 20 exponential moving average on the 4-hourly chart is one of them, and also out on the weekly chart, we'd be looking at Bitcoin getting above the 50 simple moving average right here. So guys, we've been talking about on the channel here for quite a few days that the bottom for Bitcoin is close. Like I said, it's somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000, but I think right now, the bottom may have just happened. Now, we're going to need a few days to lock that in. We're going to want to see Bitcoin get above and stay above those moving averages that I just pointed out. The 50 weekly SMA and the 20 exponential moving average on the 4-hourly chart. I want to see Bitcoin get above those. I want to see Bitcoin get above about $7,300 to $7,400. But in general, guys, Bitcoin's looking relatively bullish. Let's look at a few more technical indicators, though. One last technical indicator I want to draw your attention to is the Fibonacci Retracement. Guys, check this out. Bitcoin fell down to the 61.8% Fibonacci level. We fell a little bit below it, and if you guys are familiar with the golden pocket theory, that states that Bitcoin will normally reject and start to rally in the opposite direction around 61.8 to 65% on Fibonacci retracement. We actually have a very good example of that, and it shows up here on the much longer term charts when Bitcoin reversed at, you guessed it, the golden pocket 61.8% back in June. A very similar thing may be about to happen here on the shorter term with Bitcoin rejecting off of 61.8 again right down here. There's precedence for it, guys. The technical indicators are saying it's possible. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that this is going to happen 100%, but the technicals are pointing in this direction for now anyway, and we're going to get to another one soon, Crypto Fear and Greed Index. But guys, before we do, just remember that no matter what happens on Bitcoin, whether or not Bitcoin bounces today and starts a new rally or uptrend, or if Bitcoin falls down to $6,000, $5,000, even like $4,000, if Bitcoin falls down to $3,000 and has to go all the way back down here to where it started, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that hodling will bring you gains when Bitcoin rallies. But if you're a professional trader, you can make money on ups and downs. Guys, trading is just as profitable shorting as it is longing. That might be one of the reasons we haven't gone back to all-time high yet, but looking at it from a strictly selfish point of view, there's a lot of money that you can make doing both. Keep this in mind, guys. The key factor for making money in markets is not the direction of the market. It's the volatility of the market. The more volatile the market is, the more money you can make, but also the more risk comes. So when there's increased volatility in the market, as there has been over the last week, look at it as an opportunity to make money in trades. People have made a lot of money here in the last couple of weeks because of the volatility that has started to return to our favorite cryptocurrency. One last thing I want to discuss before we move on to the Bitcoin obituaries, because I love reading those, is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Guys, I've talked about this on the channel a few times, but I think now's a good time to do it again. I'm not going to get into exactly what this is, but essentially it's an index of the market sentiment of Bitcoin. If you guys are in CT2A, you will know market sentiment is very important. It's this video right here. It's important that you have a grasp on the market sentiment. You want to know when everyone's bearish, when everyone's bullish, when everyone's fearful, when everyone's FUDing, or when everyone's FOMOing and getting very bullish. On the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, typically extreme fear is a sign that investors are too worried, and that could be a buying opportunity. While when investors are getting too greedy, that means the market is due for a correction. The majority of traders are going to be wrong, so if you bet against the majority sometimes, not all the time, sometimes being contrarian is going to be very beneficial. Right now, I think is a great time to be one. As you can see, we're down to 17 on the Fear and Greed Index. We have not seen Bitcoin go down that low in about a month. And in the history of Bitcoin, we normally don't go down there very often. And the fact that we're seeing extreme fear, which is a reversal signal, line up with everything we just saw on the chart, it leads me to believe that we are looking at some kind of bounce, be it short or long term. We're going to have to wait on that. But guys, the potential for some kind of bottom on Bitcoin that could last is most certainly there. And to all the people who think Bitcoin is dying, you're wrong. It's really just that simple. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and wrap the video out with this. Bitcoin is dying for at least the 378th time to date. As you guys will probably know, the mainstream media and certain people in the cryptocurrency space like to get all doom and gloom when Bitcoin pulls back a little bit. They like to freak out because they didn't make as much money as they thought they were going to, and then they write an article saying Bitcoin is dead. Well, 99 Bitcoins has been keeping track of Bitcoin obituaries, which is probably my favorite title of all time here on this website for nearly 10 years now, ever since Bitcoin really came out. The first one was back on December 15th, 2010. Why Bitcoin can't become a currency. The Underground Economist when Bitcoin was trading at 23 cents. Wow, I'd hate to be that guy. Negative feedback loops like this are basically homeostasis. In nature, positive feedback loops like exist with Bitcoin are lethal. The only thing that's even kept Bitcoin alive this long, remember this was written in 2010, is its novelty. Either it will remain a novelty forever, or it will transition from novelty status to dead faster than you can blink. Well, I don't know about that. Bitcoin's trading at 300,000 times what it was when you wrote that article, fella, and I have a feeling everyone writing those articles today is going to be feeling just as dumb 10 years from now as this guy probably is when he sees Bitcoin on mainstream media. Bitcoin is not dead, guys. Bitcoin is not going anywhere but up in the long term. There's no reason to believe that the future for Bitcoin is anything but bright. If you disagree with me on that, I would love to hear your reasons why. I know some of you do, and you watch the videos every day. I'd love to hear your analysis on why Bitcoin is going to die and why it's not going to be here 10 years from now, why it's not going to do what it was set out to do. If that is truly your position, tell me in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation down there. I'd love to talk about that with you. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. But before we do, I do want to go ahead and tell you about the sale running on CT2A. Starting today and running through Cyber Monday is going to be the coupon code Black Friday 2019. Guys, everybody is running sales, so I figure that we should as well. We're getting close to 1,000 members in CT2A, and that is actually insane. Last I checked, it was 971, so we'll probably end up crossing 1,000 members in this sale. If you guys want to learn everything you need to know about technical analysis, guys, the first cohort is for trading. CT2A is for learning technical analysis. This is a fantastic program, especially for the money, guys. I know courses that have this much content or less that run for well over $1,000. No, I'm not kidding. Google it if you don't believe me. For $159, you're going to be getting access to 34 videos, 10 hours of content going over everything from the very basics down here in the introductory section to the much more advanced concepts down here in the technical analysis section. If you want to learn technical analysis and understand how to read these markets, understand how to predict the reversals, understand when and where and why and how to make trades, you need to have some kind of education in cryptocurrency. Don't get me wrong, you can learn it on your own, but people don't understand you're not paying for information in courses. You're paying for organization, because if you were to go and try to find all this information on your own, I promise you guys, it would take you a very long time. It took me a very long time. Hundreds of hours went into making this course and thousands of hours went into researching for it and building my knowledge in cryptocurrency. Save yourself the time, guys. Use the coupon code down below. $159 compared to the hundreds and thousands of hours you would spend learning this on the internet with Google. I think that's a worthwhile trade, and you're also helping to support the channel when you do. So if you guys are interested, the link and the coupon code are down below. I'd love to see you guys join over there. And remember, guys, if you're a student of the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, you get your first month free when you join the first cohort. So anyway, guys, this video has been running for just a little bit too long, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I do hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button, only if you like the video though, of course. And if you are new here, consider subscribing. We'd love to see you join the community. I'd love to get you to know you personally. You can join one of our Discord servers and we'll talk over there. Anyway, guys, that is going to have to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching as always. And I will see you guys next video. Peace.